There we go. Wait, where's Mark?
Here I am. What's up, guys? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. What's up, fellas? Everybody in Avoiding Babylon, it's been a hot minute. It's good to see you guys.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How we doing?
Good. How many shows have you guys done in the last year?
So this year we're doing more content than we did last year because
allegedly
last year we did 0. So
no, we didn't do
if
zero.
we do
we
one
did like,
show,
we did like a
we've
handful.
already done
Come on now.
100% more shows than we did last year. I don't know. We're going to do a show on Nicaea, and they're going to start that. I'm going on vacation next week, and when I get back, my plan
I
is
wasn't
to
invited, but whatever.
kick that off. No, because we want to actually do the show. So if I actually invite you, you'll be like, "Oh, I'm wrestling that night,"
or let me get back to you. Every single time. I don't know,
you, Jason. I love you. I'm teasing you, man.
Well,
I do that in every aspect of my life. Somebody asks me something, and I'm like, I'll let you know. I don't like to commit right away without thinking. You know,
is that a Texas thing or is that a Jason thing?
That's a Jason thing, man.
No, you know, it was like my friends used to always joke when I would eat food. Somebody asked me how it was. My answer was always, "It's all right."
It's all right.
And one time, somebody was kind of getting annoyed, I guess. And one of my really good friends, he was like, "Just let me tell you something, Jason. If it's all right, it means he liked it. He'll tell you if it's bad. If he says all right, it means it was good."
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'll let you know when you ask me about a time. I'll let you know.
Did your wife? I bet your wife sent you an invite to your own wedding, and you told her, "I'll let you know."
I can't commit yet.
Or he'll do this. How about Wednesday? Does Wednesday work? And you'll go, "Yeah, Wednesday works." And he goes, "Okay, I'll get back to you. Let me see." Wait, what? He says that to me all the time.
Not the best podcast partner.
No, you are, man. You are, absolutely are. For those of you, anybody who doesn't follow our show, we're called Text Catheter. Go look us up and follow us, please, because I think for what we've been able to do, I was actually going back and listening to some old shows, and I was like, "So this is not bad, not great either."
They used to be the Tradman, but then Jason went and Sarum, right?
Yeah,
right. So,
yeah.
For any of you who don't know, these guys were here on had to be our third trivia episode ever.
Yeah, we've been there
at least in the chat.
jump.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not paying attention to the chat. Chat, what do you do? Okay, they're not spelling what I thought they were spelling. That's
They're just spelling beef, Rob.
No.
I'm sorry. Hey, look, I'm just reading the chat. Right?
No, they spelled beef.
All right, so we're going to talk about Charlotte.
I've been reliably told that I am unqualified to talk about Charlotte, not because I'm not a theologian,
right,
but because I don't live there. So should we just can the whole main topic?
Yeah,
since we're not qualified to talk.
Can you imagine a world in which I ever sat around waiting on somebody to give me permission to have an opinion about a damn thing? If I wanted to have an opinion on the best way to fly an F-14 Tomcat, you don't have to like it. You don't have to listen to it. You don't even have to agree with it. But I get to have it, and there's not a damn thing you or anybody else can do about it. Well, what you got to say about
I might not have ever flown it, but
hey, doesn't mean you can't have an opinion.
That's true.
And even if you're not allowed to, I'm going to have it anyway, and there's not a darn thing in the world any of you can do about it. Now, what you got to say about that, you bunch of
I bet you I could do something about it, but whatever.
By the way, I have to say, the degree to which you guys think about us is very strange and sick and weird. I mean, I don't like the Novus Ordo Missa either. I've never in my life taken any concrete steps to take it away from anybody. It's so weird and creepy. I'm sorry. What a sad, pathetic loser you've become. You actually... Now listen to this. They don't hate the traditional Latin Mass. They hate that you love it.
Who are you talking
that's
about?
Creepy and weird. All the people who want to take away the traditional Latin Mass. It's so bizarre.
Modernists
are a big chunk of this. I certainly think it has its theological and ideological roots in modernism, to be sure. But I just think, man, touch grass, man. Go get a life. Go, see a therapist. It's so bizarre. The degree to which you're obsessed with us. We have no power in the Catholic Church, as you never tire of letting us know every second of every day. And yet, when all of your stupid plans come to nothing, it's always our fault. We did that to you. And I'm just wondering, name me a single bishop that's ever taken away your Novus Ordo. You can't. Not one. We don't think about you at all that much. I mean, my goodness, we have lives with other things going on. It's so bizarre. Touch grass, guys.
I was wondering how long it was going to take. I would have bet 10 minutes, not.
No,
Dude, we didn't make it too.
No, not even close.
He ain't done. That's the problem. He ain't
No, I
done.
know. I'm not going to say anything because I know he's just getting wound up.
You invited me on the show, man.
What do you have to say about what is it, Jason? That place in Rome. He always
the Pontifical Gregorian
yes.
Athenaeum.
Yeah. What do you think about
I
that?
I just think like it's like the Harvard of the Catholic Church. It's such a like these people who go there, they can't wait to tell you that they went to the Gregorian, and every single one of them believe in the weirdest things like cosmic Christs and omega points and all these bizarre Teilhard de Chardinian ideas. And they'll tell you about the genius of Henri de Lubac and Karl Rahner. And I'm just thinking, I don't know. I find those people insufferable. I think that place is the Kremlin on the Tiber.
Should we read the decree from the bishop in Hawaii?
Let's hear it. Absolutely. Why shouldn't we?
Gosh, yes. You go for it.
If I had time, I would have translated it.
This says smart water, but this is pure vodka. I'm just ready for the show tonight. Let's go.
You came full Irish tonight, huh? Yeah. For everyone used to the Italian on this show, you get no Italian tonight. You get Irish tonight.
Pull up Irish and English. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And then whatever Jason is.
100% Texan.
100% Texan.
AKA half Mexican.
That's right. That's right.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let me let me pull up this. Does anyone? I can't imagine anyone in our audience doesn't know about this, right?
Well, so apparently back in 2023, the bishop in Charlotte said he was going to put the kibosh on the Latin Mass, and it was scheduled to happen in like October of this year, correct? And then this new guy comes in early April and just nukes it, right?
Well, I guess let's read this and we'll go.
All right, let's do that. Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, what, Jason?
No, I was just gonna ask. It may answer it in here because I mean I read it earlier, but I don't remember. Does he say why he moved up the timetable on it?
I'm not sure.
And so we will speculate wildly. Let's hear it.
Adrian,
I've got ideas. I've got
can't
theories.
read that comment, Adrian. But okay. So this is directly from the office of Michael Martin, the Bishop of Charlotte. And so it says in July of 2021, Francis published his motu proprio Traditionis Custodes, which restored limits on the celebration of the traditional Latin Mass. My predecessor, Bishop Peter Jugis, requested and received an extension for the Diocese of Charlotte in order to arrange an orderly transition. That temporary extension expires this year, and I am now ready to finish the diocese's implementation of the norms established in Traditionis Custodes. So effective July 8th, the TLM will no longer be celebrated at parish churches in the Diocese of Charlotte. So in accordance with TC, he is designating a chapel in the diocese where TLM goers may gather for the celebration on Sundays and holy days of obligation using the Missal of 62. The chapel set aside for this purpose happens to be a former Protestant church that the diocese have been renting out for events. So we'll take a look at photos of that later. A priest of the diocese will be appointed as chaplain to be responsible for celebrating 2 Sunday masses and holy day masses using the 1962 Roman Missal. Those who are interested in participating in the TLM will remain members of their current parishes. Here's the bottom. This is the best part. It is my heartfelt desire and prayer that this implementation of Traditionis Custodes will further promote the concord and unity of the church. It is.
I like how I put it in quotes because he knows it's BS. That's great.
among the people of God in the Diocese of Charlotte, so that as Jesus prayed to his Father, we may all be one.
Yeah, and that's how they betray. They've been betraying our Lord like that all the time. They always kiss him on the cheek. It's always like got to be it's vague in some weird sense of wanting to be his friend, and it's just so twisted and sick. Let me tell you something. To the people who are behind this, to the Bishop of Charlotte, yeah, this will be the thing that'll do it. Way to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
The traditional mass isn't go. It survived Francis. It's going to survive you too. This is so pathetic. And so I think it might be even a desperation move. Like maybe he knows something's about to be rehabilitated with this new Pope. And so he's trying to go scorched earth before anything comes out. I don't know. The timing is weird though.
For me, like, so some people think the bishop must have went to Rome and gotten permission to do it beforehand. I think more likely from what I've seen, I think it's this bishop and his ilk, for lack of a better term, trying to force Pope Leo, right? Because Leo hasn't had to deal with it yet. They don't know how he's going to respond. So if they didn't go and get permission to do this, and I have a feeling they probably didn't, then chat. Okay, thank you. Then I think it's more likely that they're trying to force Leo's hand to see where he actually stands on this issue. Is he gonna just ignore it and let it happen? Is he going to?
I think the issue needs to be addressed because Francis's ideology behind, I mean, I've read Traditionis Custodes backwards and forwards, and I'm telling you, whatever reasoning he gives him, that doesn't even hold up to any remote sense. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, let me give you an example. Okay. Let me give you an example of one thing that's got to be addressed if you're going to make sense of any of this.
Mm-hmm.
My position, and this is not something I've invented, I've basically heard from Dr. Peter Kwasniewski. I heard his argument, and I sort of agree with what he's saying. The traditional Latin Mass, as we call it, is the Roman Rite, and everything else is something else. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
I agree with that.
Okay. It seems like Francis kind of does too, because you read in Traditionis Custodes, he says, how can people say that the Missal of Paul VI is not the Roman Rite when it contains the very thing that makes it the Roman Rite, the Roman canon? And I went, now hold up now, hang on. Did he just say that every Mass that uses Eucharistic prayer number 2 is not the Roman Rite? That sounds very close to what I believe. There are so many threads that if you just tug on them just a little bit, the whole thing unravels and it doesn't make any sense. And it's got to make sense at some point, okay? And the Catholic Church just keeps digging itself deeper into this. At no point in 1962 did anybody listen to anybody who said, hey, this is a huge change. Is it possible there might be some unintended consequences here? That discussion was simply never even allowed. That's very strange and a little naive. And so they keep digging themselves into this hole, and eventually the hole is going to collapse on top of them because none of anything they're saying makes sense. It's all just, well, put a gun to your head and you'll do it or else. So how long can you really do that before that collapses? How well did that work with the Biden health scandal thing? It's all out now, and everybody who said it wasn't is now running for cover and trying to, oh, it wasn't me. I was always on your side on this. And it's not going to be different this time. It's going to work out exactly the same it has every single time. Why did Cain kill Abel? Because God accepted Abel's sacrifice and he didn't accept Cain's. And rather than Cain go back and do it the right way, he got angry, bitter, miserable, and resentful and killed his brother. Now he has 2 problems. It's not going to get better, guys. This isn't going to be the thing that does it. So anyway,
I heard a lot of people talking today about, and we even read in the memo here that this isn't the Bishop with Bishop Martin, right? That's his name.
Yes.
Bishop Martin's doing. He's just carrying on what his predecessor had already implemented and done, right? Like he had no ability to stay this or whatever the case may be. And, I kind of, in some ways I'm like, okay, well, if you want to make that argument, that's fine. But the problem is later in the memo, the internal memo that was sent out about how to answer questions,
which we will go over.
yeah. So, but that was nothing. When I read that, over half of that is just gaslighting. It's
Yep.
just gaslighting people. It's adding fuel to the fire. Like you're almost trying to force people to react in a way that justifies what you did. So you could say, look, I said I'm doing this for unity. They're all mad. They're protesting. They're sending petitions or whatever the case may be. But I felt like the memo was one of those cases where a husband beats his wife and is like, well, this is for your own good. And it's, it was just pure gaslighting. And it really added to my thought process that he wasn't just carrying on what his predecessor did. Bishop Martin wants this to happen. It's part of his ruling now, basically.
And so as bishop, he definitely could have gone to the Vatican for an extension. I mean, my own bishop went to the Vatican. So our initial dispensation to keep one TLM in a parish church in our diocese expired last October. Our bishop went to the Vatican and got, under Francis even, and got an extension for at least another 2 years. So if their original dispensation was set to expire this October, then it looks like Bishop Martin didn't even try to get an extension on it. That's what it looks
that
like
way.
from the
Yeah.
outside, at least.
I mean, he's the bishop. He can do whatever he wants.
Right. For
Do
instance,
whatever he wants.
down in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Archbishop Hebda, the parish I grew up in, he designated an oratory, right, for the TLM, and that mass can stay at that now oratory instead of a parish church, according to Traditionis Custodes. And it's
All the things they have
flipping
to do
ridiculous
for
they
a
even have-
problem that they created of their
Yeah.
own doing. Ugh. And you just can't tell them it's not going to work this time either. This isn't going to be the thing either. I don't know. It's very strange. We're playing some weird games with the sacraments, guys. And one day we're going to reap a whirlwind for it. But it makes sense that every heresy is really a battle for the soul of Christendom, right? Will truth prevail or will error win the day? Okay. Now we know how it's going to work. We know how it's going to end up. But nonetheless, every battle against every heresy is a battle for the soul of the church. And this is the ultimate one. Modernism is the synthesis of all heresies. That's Pope St. Pius X said so. And so what is this about? It's about the mass. It's going to come down to a battle for the mass. This is about good versus evil. There is nothing that drives Satan more crazy than eating at the Lord's table. It's been that way since 33 AD. It's not going to be, and I'm telling you, Christ will triumph. You guys are all lining up with dead men. I don't understand it. History is full of, yeah.
Well, the comment that Rob just had up.
Which one?
The one right before that one. Let me go back up here and see if I can find
This one?
it. Yeah. So again, he claims there's no reason for an additional extension and would only make this process more painful. Again, I read that and y'all know me. I wouldn't qualify what you would call a hardcore trad, right? But when I read that, I'm just like to me, this isn't even honest. You going for an extension to a group of people that you're obviously going to hurt, their parish life and everything else. It's almost like even if you fail at it, you would like to see your bishop try to go to bat for you, right? So to me, when he says there was no reason for him to even go for an additional extension, it sends a message to me personally. I don't really care that much.
Here. So we have it. We actually have his answer right here. First off, so this document itself is ridiculous. So this is a document the diocese sent out to it looks like maybe their priest or at least like the communications officers. So this is basically like the official talking points. It's like it's like Pravda from the Soviet Union, right?
Right.
It's what they're allowed to say. So let's read what Bishop
Probably
Martin
contains about as much truth as that newspaper used to also.
Yeah. So let's read what Bishop Martin says, why he didn't ask for another extension. It says, an extension is a temporary accommodation for a particular purpose. The only purpose for an extension in the Diocese of Charlotte at this time is to allow those who prefer the TLM to continue to celebrate the Mass in that form in the 4 parish churches where it's currently being offered. That is not the purpose of an extension. Why wouldn't it be? Regardless of when we do this, it will be painful for our faithful. Pope Francis knew that when he promulgated TC and still established limiting norms. Asking for extensions when none are warranted only prolongs the pain, and I have the pain and uncertainty to these faithful. Other bishops can have their own reasoning that does not necessarily speak to the reality in Western North Carolina. In other words, screw you.
Disturbing.
What
You
does
don't get extra
what
time.
what qualifies
That's
in his
terrifying.
mind? What qualifies in his mind as a reason that warrants his petition?
I think I'm more horrified by what he stated the actual reason was.
What?
And this goes back to what I'm saying. It doesn't have anything. There's no problem they have with the liturgy. They don't know enough about liturgy to have a problem with the TLM. It goes down to it's those who prefer it. That's what it's you. They don't like you. They don't like people like you. They don't think people like you are cool enough to belong to their church, and you keep talking about this Nazarene carpenter guy and all of his moral teachings. We're beyond all of those things. We're morally superior to the Son of God. And the traditional Latin Mass stands as a stark reflection that we are not that. And so it's got to be eliminated so that we can continue in our delusion of ourselves. I like taking joy away from people. That's what he wrote. He wrote it right there. I like to take joy away from people because I'm an angry, bitter, miserable modernist freak that cannot stand that you have joy and I don't. He just wrote it.
Yeah. The only purpose for an extension would be to allow those who prefer the TLM to continue to celebrate masses in their parishes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Literally number one.
Right. Exactly. That's the point. Why would you not want that?
Because he hates you.
Because, yeah, I mean, that's
bottom line.
Basically.
And that's so weird when you think about the fact that he doesn't even know any of these people personally.
So Mark, if you don't like that part, there's parts you're really not gonna like.
You haven't read the document today at all, Mark?
I try not to. I try to.
The gaslighting I was talking about. Wait till you get to
it's probably pure. Sometimes I'm not even mad at it. I'm just like, you know what I mean?
You don't seem mad.
Well, sometimes you can't get mad. Sometimes it's just so. The other day I saw an Instagram clip of a Novus Ordo parish where the priest was attempting to baptize a dog, and I just thought, when you see that, you can't even be mad at you. Just like, touche, Satan. Okay, I see. Game recognized game, because that's amazing. Like good, like you got to recognize a job well done. I'm sure there are motu proprios coming. I'm sure.
Here's
go to heaven.
Implementation of TC will only cause more division and may even cause people to leave the church. So here's his response to that. It is clear that Francis's consultation through the CDF, in other words, that survey that they say they sent out to all the bishops, and most bishops either say they didn't get it or they answered it differently than the answers that they shared afterwards. So they're right away using a justification that everyone already knows is false. Like everyone knows that survey that is sent out was bogus. A lie. Exactly. 100%.
It was a lie.
Anyways, believing that allowing a more widespread celebration of the TLM was causing more division universally in the church. While it is sad that some may leave the church, it appears that the direction of the CDF recommended and Pope Francis required was implemented to cause less division over the long term. The truth of that direction remains to be seen and may be addressed differently by subsequent popes. While it is sad that some may leave the church, I, as a bishop, don't give half a damn that we are going to lose souls. That is what he is saying.
So I think there's something that I don't think a lot of people really understand. I think a lot of people think that modernists don't believe in the one true church of the Catholicity of the one true church. That is not true. They do. But you have to understand what they mean by that when they say that. What modernists believe is that all the world's religions are erroneous, including the Catholic one, right? But they all contain elements of truth and things like that. And so what will happen eventually is all the religions will merge into one conglomerate amalgam thing. And that will truly be the Catholic Church, because it will truly be one universal religion. It's absurd. This is absurd. This is what they think at the Gregorian. Okay. So when they listen, when they see the decline in the Catholic Church, they do not look at the Novus Ordo and go, wow, this thing's got a huge flaw in it. It's causing the faithful to leave. They don't see that as a flaw. They see it as a feature. The destruction and the evisceration of the Catholic Church is the point. You leaving is the whole point. That's why I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying just to cause them grief, because they would love nothing more than for me to leave. And I'm not going anywhere. The day I hand the Catholic Church over to these people is the day I will have a tag on my toe.
Yeah. So Adrian, we're going to get to the last part where he tells the TLM people that they need to do penance, which is ironic because him and the moderns don't
see,
ever
that's pure psychopathy. That's
it really is crazy.
Hey,
man, that's beautiful.
Mark, it gets better. It gets better. Trust me.
It could always get stupider. I know that.
Oh, better.
Drew, you said the TLM subject should not become a political football. I totally agree. But unfortunately, the Catholic Church has decided to pursue this course where they will allow it and not allow it every 10 years. That's not a decision that we made. I think it's a really stupid idea to do that. But the popes have decided to do this. Again, digging the hole deeper and making the problem infinitely worse. I don't know why. I don't know why. If for no other reason, Francis should have not done Traditionis Custodes, because he's like, they just wrote some more in Pontificum. It's hard to make the argument that we have continuity with the apostles when we don't even have continuity with the last pope, who's still alive. The Catholic Church is now changing so fast, people can't keep up with it. No, we're not going to do this. But he didn't do that. He decided we're going to make this a deal that every pope has to deal with, and some will allow it and some don't. I don't know why they did that.
Yep. Okay, so here's what they said people can do. What can people do who find the TLM to be a blessing? Number one, find ways to see the work of the Holy Ghost and the Novus Ordo.
Work hard too.
Given that it may be more difficult to attend the TLM, yeah, because you canceled them all. If we find ourselves holding on to resentment and anger while attending Mass in a form that is not your preference, the less we are able to open ourselves to the gift of God's love that comes to us in so many diverse ways.
This is after he just banned a Mass that is not his preference. I swear you can't make this up. This is so amazing. This is so good.
Why is it all the post-war boomers can hold on to their resentment and anger and cancel all of our Masses, but yet we can't be just the tiniest bit upset at them for it?
Listen, Your Excellency, find the nearest mirror that you can find and stare deeply into it. The person on the other end desperately needs your help. Okay? Seek help. I don't know if you're not taking the meds or if they need to up the dose. Something's wrong. Something's broken in you. Read what you wrote. You signed your name to this. You signed your name to this and you published it. You carry your father's name. Have some respect.
I like number 2 here. Avoid social media where division is the goal, not communion. Avoid social media where you might hear the truth instead of our Pravda approved talking points.
Where people are allowed to post what they think.
Unbelievable. Reach out to a priest or pre-approved spiritual. Okay, he doesn't say pre-approved, but this is what he means. Reach out to a priest or spiritual director to walk with you on your journey. No, I'm sorry, that's gay. I don't need anyone walking with me on my journey. They can hear my confession. That's what I need. I don't. Okay, this last one. Is this the last one here?
I thought there was 5, but maybe it was just 4.
Renew your faith.
No, there was
commitment to the Roman Catholic
Oh, this
Church.
is unbelievable.
Yeah, this is 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Renew your faith commitment to the Roman Catholic Church.
Bishop, Your Excellency, how about you try to do that first?
No sense of self-awareness. Narcissistic personality disorders rarely do. That doesn't surprise me in the least bit. And I'm sorry, I'm not making rash judgments.
Here's the thing.
Published the doc, not me.
Mark has said in our episodes before, about this whole, getting communion with Vatican II. You've got to believe. Do you believe in Vatican II? How they're always asking, whatever that means.
Right.
But Mark is always like, how do they expect trads to be in communion and believe in Vatican II when they don't even themselves?
Yeah, they don't even know anything about it.
Yeah.
Sacrosanctum Concilium is about restoring things that, if you really go back and read that document, not the specific ideas they had about how to do that, but the overall spirit and nature of that document, it says when it comes to the liturgy, we should restore old things that we know work and discard innovations that don't. That is not a ringing endorsement of what has become the Missal of Paul VI, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah. So,
well, it is the Roman Catholic Church that we're commenting on, and we
don't live in
because
Rome,
it's a universal church wherever it is.
But we don't live in Rome.
Don't be obtuse.
Joe's on.
He's being facetious.
Did you live in Poland in the 1940s? Who are you to say the Holocaust is wrong? Are you out of your mind?
You're getting it.
That's absurd.
Canceled.
That's absurd. Come on,
get us canceled, Mark.
Joe is being facetious.
Telling the truth often does.
Mark, have you ever? I can't do it in the voice of Douglas Murray. I just can't.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. One of the reasons TC was promulgated was to stem a growing tide of TLM adherents who were denying the validity and legitimacy of the liturgical reform dictated by the. The Novus Ordo was not dictated by Vatican II. It was
a lie. That's lie.
A complete fabrication.
Another lie.
Okay, but if you wanted to stem a growing tide of people against that, y'all have failed so terribly.
Look at the comment here. Why are you even Catholic? Were you there in 33 AD?
Yeah, exactly. You weren't there. If you've been to Mass, you were there. That's the thing. If you've been to Mass, that we are there. We're mystically present. If we're really a part of this church, then it doesn't matter if we're talking about the Catholic Church in Norway, if we're talking about the Catholic Church in Charlotte or Houston or anywhere else. It's the same church.
Mark is not in a joking mood tonight, apparently.
No, not at all.
When it comes to this topic, the myths and the lies have just been allowed to they go on for so long, and they're so infuriating. And you just think, my goodness, is there no, at long last, have you no decency? I'm reminded of that quote over and over again. At long last, have you no decency? You have degenerated into somebody who enjoys taking beautiful things away from people.
This is a great question. Why?
I would look in the mirror. I mean, I don't know.
Why are the bishops not concerned about the growing tide of Novus Ordo adherents who deny the validity and legitimacy of basic perennial Catholic?
Because that's the whole point of it. That's what they like about it. It's a feature for them. Mm-hmm. I don't know why we keep listening to these people. They're the weirdest people on earth.
Let's see here. Many who participate in the TLM are in complete communion with Vatican II. How can you be in communion with an event? Pretty sure you can only be in communion with other people, right? Let's see here. There are those.
Wait, what did he write? Where's that?
Many people are in the Diocese of Charlotte are in complete communion with Vatican II.
Oh, incomplete communion.
Yep.
They're in incomplete communion with Vatican II.
No, they're incomplete.
They whatever. I'm looking for it in the actual.
Oh, yeah.
Is it 0.5 or are you in 4 still?
Halfway through 4.
0.5 is going to get you more riled up. Don't worry that. But
no,
we'll get there.
Don't worry.
I like this.
I don't
maybe do.
I say many who participate in the TLM in the Diocese of Charlotte are in complete communion with Vatican II, magisterium of the Church for Supreme Pontiffs, and do not deny the legitimacy of liturgical reform. However, there are those who do deny these truths. This is evidenced most frequently in social media posts. Yeah, they deny the truths. I'm sorry that our congregations aren't perfect. I'm glad you don't have that problem in the Novus Ordo masses. Everybody there is doctrinally sound. They're all well catechized, and they don't have any people who are annoying there. That's only something you're going to find in other people's parishes. If you really believe that, then you are the person who is like that. If you really believe that, man, talk about a Pharisee. Thank you, Lord, for not making me like these people. Holy cow, man. Have you ever even read the Bible, Your Excellency, and all your advanced theological training? It's basic. Listen to yourself when you say these things and you sign your name to them. These German bishops sign statements and they sign their names to statements saying they're morally superior to Jesus Christ. Can you imagine such a thing? Can you imagine that? That's insane. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life.
I find when I'm riled up like Mark is now, what really helps calm me down is a good glass of red wine from Requisite Cellars. So make sure you all head over to requisitecellars.com and use code BASED at checkout for 10% off. And it's summer, so they also sell fruit. And head over and buy some fruit too, along with your wine. Because let me tell you, with bishops like these, you're going to need a lot more wine in your life. But ironically, what's funny is the bishops wouldn't use this wine for mass because it's not invalid matter like the sangria they prefer to use in Novus Ordo masses. So,
oh my goodness.
So requisitecellars.com, everyone.
Yeah.
I am literally the worst at this.
No, that was a good ad read. I enjoyed that. That was good. That was a perfect segue too. That was a perfect segue. Let's go to number 5 here because wait. I'll read the last part here. All of us can call on the Holy Spirit to go beyond our personal preferences. Yeah, we could all do that, but some of us choose not to. In the heart of communion that is made manifest in the sacrifice of the Holy Eucharist, we could all do that. You're right. This is the ironic thing about this is this would have been a great letter for somebody to have written to him. And I would encourage him to read take a little bit of his own pastoral advice here and stop denying truths as he's, I don't know.
So the invalid wine comment, it was found, I forget what, there was 3 parishes, right? Because now they couldn't all survive on their own. So some tri-parish center, I think around Kansas City, was found to be using something like sangria that had added, it wasn't just a pure grape wine, it had some fruit juice in it. So that was invalid matter, and they had been using it for many, many years. So every mass done in that tri-parish center for many years was an invalid mass. And we're not saying that the Novus Ordo as a whole is invalid. That's a whole other argument. But all of those masses were invalid. So
I think we understand now why they're constantly on us about that validity question, even though it's very rarely do you ever hear somebody talk about the validity of the Novus Ordo, but they are obsessed with the fact that we don't think that, and we got to sign all these loyalty oaths and all these weird statements and make all these weird pledges that you better not challenge the validity. I guess we understand we're concerned about that, weren't we? Because they knew it the whole time and we're terrified that we'd find out about it. That's going to be the next scandal that breaks, that like 90% of the sacraments are invalid or whatever. That's going to be the next one. And that'll be our fault too. Don't worry. That'll be something that the traditionalists did to the church, and we'll get punished accordingly, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. So Mark, you want to read number 5 here?
Okay. Engage in some acts of penance and charity for the healing of the church. The more we go outside ourselves, the nature of love, the less we are tempted to demand that our own needs be the center of our lives.
It's funny because that second sentence shows he doesn't know what penance is, or that he's only talking about charity. He mentions penance and charity, but he only actually is talking about charity. And he doesn't mean charity in like the Catholic sense. He means charity as in like secular charity, it seems.
That's your bishop, guys.
Well, how are you going to,
Francis put over you?
What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed
to,
what is he telling? Because he's not telling people to do penance for a specific issue or anything that anybody specifically done. When I read this, it seems like he's saying do penance for just attending the TLM.
That is how it comes off, right?
I mean, I'm sure I like to give him benefit of the doubt. Think that's not what he literally means, but that's the way it comes off as, because there's no like oh, well, you should do penance if you've caused disunity in the church or whatever, saying, well, how do you get over your TLM being taken away? Do penance.
But
That
not
was,
that rigid trad prep penance you guys are into. No, not eating meat on Friday. That's rigid and old school. No,
Just don't drink the Coke.
your penance is you have to go to such and such Pride Mass we'll be holding in Charlotte here at this date and time.
you know, it's even worse than that though, because I can always tell you I'm not going to go to the Pride Mass.
Yeah.
But this is
Yeah.
you telling me I can't go. They have absconded with the patrimony of the church and held it from us, and they have had no right to do so. They're going to pay. They're going to pay for it one day. And look, you can get mad at me. I am not the cause of this. I'm just telling you what's going to happen.
Well, I don't know.
As-
I don't know, Mark. They said social media. You were on
As sure
social
as
media.
God made green apples, you can listen. If you don't ask me, ask all the journos who covered for Joe Biden for 4 years. You can ignore reality, but you can not ignore the effects of ignoring reality. And if it makes you feel better to get mad at the guys at Avoiding Babylon or Text Catheter or the weirdos who go to the Latin Mass, whatever helps you sleep better at night, it won't change a thing. You wrote a kind of a bad mass. I'm sorry. It wasn't my idea for you to write this. If you would have come to me in 1963, if I would have existed and asked me, is this a good idea? I would have told you no. There were plenty of people who did. You ignored them and did it anyway. And it didn't work out. And it's maybe not everybody else's fault. Some of this may be on you a little bit, at long last. Any sense of responsibility over what's happened in the last 50 years, or is it all Avoiding Babylon's fault? I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe.
Anthony's to blame for a lot of things. Let's not let him off scot-free, but
You just want to get that out there when Mark just said Avoiding Babylon. It's not me, it's you.
Yeah.
Towards Anthony. Yeah, get Anthony.
Specifically him. Yes,
Yeah,
Anthony,
yeah, exactly.
I want to be very clear on that.
I mean, it's
Everything
social
I'm saying
media's
tonight-
fault. That's you guys. That's what
Everything I'm saying tonight was given to me by Anthony to say.
Talking points.
I mean,
So you got an internal memo.
avoid social media where division is the goal. Okay. Social
Mark, you
media
do
was
that well every
invented.
day.
Social media was invented in like 2012. Why was the Catholic Church in a 50-year decline 50 years before that? I mean, do you know what I'm saying? At some point, is there any sense of, hey, some of this might actually be our fault? Maybe not all of it, but some of it. And I think we have to start with our 50-year fascination with these weirdos. Let me tell you something. May I share something, Rob, with your audience? And
On the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that cool? Can I do that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. This is a man named Pope Innocent X. Not a particularly, am I sharing? Here we go. Pope Innocent X, not a particularly noteworthy pontiff. He's more or less noteworthy for one thing. He commissioned this piece of artwork, the portrait of St. Michael the Archangel that we're all familiar with. Not a great man, but not a bad man either. Okay. This is a portrait of him by Velasquez.
So not a Pius V, but not a
not really
either.
But I think it's interesting the way to which modernists would look at a painting like this. And what do they see? Now, we know from the Catechism that art is a reflection of the interior of the artist. Someone who creates good art would want to bring beauty and joy into the art. That is the purpose of good art, right? Well, so that's the way Velasquez envisioned His Holiness Pope Innocent X.
Right.
This is the way Francis Bacon, a famous modernist artist from the 1960s, he was from the 1916 and 60s.
Not Sir
not
Francis Bacon.
No, he was not an ecclesiastical artist by any means. He was, but he was part of the modernist art movement, not modernism theologically speaking. Okay, but nonetheless, this is how he saw. This was his interpretation of, I'm trying to find it here because I do have it.
You work computers like Anthony.
Yeah, I know I do. It's pretty bad, but Okay, I might as well just show you this, I guess. That's his interpretation, if you can see that. This is Francis Bacon's interpretation of that. That's what's inside him when he thinks of Pope Innocent X. Now, I want you to imagine hanging something like this in your home. No, it's terrifying. It's going to terrify the children. It's terrifying me. But boy, you put a red hat on somebody and they will look at this painting and just go, wow, we got to have that as the center altar. We're going to redesign the church around that. And it's okay to look at that and go, no, that's ugly. We're not doing that. That's absurd. It's not profound or sophisticated. It's ugly.
Well, here's the thing, Mark. I know for a fact that none of our hierarchy would ever put art like that on their walls. And you know why? Their walls are too covered already with Rupnik pieces.
I mean, it's an example. It's just one example of a myriad of examples. The sculpture that is in the building where the Pope gives his audiences, the one that terrifies small children, it terrifies me to look at it. Who saw that and was like, yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. And that doesn't immediately give you cause to look at somebody suspect and with concern and like, whatever. Well, I'm going off on tangent. Yeah, Mark uses Wikipedia. That's what law degree gets you. It's true. It's true.
Do you guys want to? So one thing Charlotte is known for is the number of seminarians they produce. Do you want to hear Bishop Martin's concerns about the number of seminarians that might be reduced here?
Would love to.
So what if implementation of TC will reduce the number of seminarians that are coming to the Diocese of Charlotte? A lot of this is just BS. Let's see here. Here at the very bottom, any young man who is only or primarily interested in the celebration of the TLM is not, nor has ever been, a viable candidate for ordination to the transitional diaconate or priesthood in the Diocese of Charlotte. But you know what? If they're homosexual, send them right on over. We'll take them. It's just unbelievable.
It doesn't answer the question either.
No, it doesn't.
You never noticed that? I mean, they're concerned. What if implementation of Traditionis Custodes reduces the number of seminarians? And instead, he give you a thing of, well, nobody who's ever applied before and wants to be TLM exclusive has ever been ordained in our diocese. That wasn't the question we asked. I mean, it wasn't the question you just asked yourself. Your Excellency, this is bad writing. I mean, you're an educated man. This is bad writing. You should have somebody review this. You really should have an editor, because I know you modernists all think you're the most brilliant things that have ever walked the face of God's green earth. But for the life of me, half of you aren't even as smart as the average person. You know, that's a problem with somebody who knows everything. They never bother to learn a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was written poorly. You should have had an editor look at that, and you should be embarrassed.
Hey, Rob. So
Yeah.
Miss C asked earlier, does Jason ever get to talk on his podcast? And I said, not you know as well as anybody else. Not when Mark gets on this topic. Is
sorry, guys. I'm gonna shut it down and make some.
No. You're good.
I'm sorry.
Not
cool. I hate people who hog the argument. I hate that. I know.
I don't really have much more to add. I'm a lot more tame on this argument than yours. This is what you're passionate about.
Do we want to just get to the standard Mark Robertson reading of
Quo Primum?
Yeah, because we know it's coming.
That. You don't need me to read that. You can read it for yourself. I mean, I know I beat the dead horse, but it's quite a document, and it says some things in there that are fly in the face of everything you've been told about this liturgy. So I would encourage you to read it and then wonder why it says what it says and why everybody has to pretend like it doesn't say what it says.
Mark is ant with twang.
Here's
multiple,
I like that.
and multiple more degrees too.
Oh my goodness.
Here's the thing is that I'm quiet on this topic, but as you know from trivia, I've talked over Anthony many times.
Also, as we know from trivia, you don't know how to count.
That's true.
No.
Points.
You and Connor cheat. I keep count of my points right here every time. I am that competitive. Yes.
So the Charlotte SSPX about to have record numbers this year.
Yeah,
So
probably.
I have been to 2 SSPX masses in my life. One was down in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and that was looked like a wonderful little parish. I should say chapel. And then the second was in Charlotte. And let me tell you, like, one thing the SSPX has and knows how to do well is like masculine priests. Like this this young man, probably my age or maybe a little older, walked up to the altar with one leg because he had a prosthetic on the other one, and he did, you could just tell, that was a masculine man,
Yeah. Yeah. I felt the same way about the FSSP guys that I've known and that have serviced, that have been my pastors since since I moved back to Houston. And yeah, it's been a rough, well, I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to say that, and I don't know why I felt this way, and I can't really articulate, and maybe everybody in the comment section is going to think this is dumb, and it probably is. But for some reason, when I saw the face of Leo XIV, I just felt better. I felt like things might not be, I didn't get the sense by looking at him that this guy's out to get anybody necessarily. I mean, I think I hear him talk about clarity and at least you'll understand what he says. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm not. And I just get a good feeling. I feel like this kind of a thing is going to come to an end under his pontificate. I hope.
So Bobby was at that SSPX mass in Charlotte, and Bobby is he goes to Eastern Divine Liturgy. That was one of the few TLMs I think he's ever been to. But yeah, that priest was definitely a badass. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's
was a real so while we were in Charlotte, for the what was it called? The Carolinas Men Conference of the Catholic Men's Conference of the Carolinas. They had the Bishop of one of the South Carolina dioceses there presiding, and they had to have him come up to North Carolina to preside because Bishop Martin, instead of presiding over a men's conference, decided to preside over a women's conference on Laudato Si.
okay.
So quite the contrast to the
Yeah.
based one-legged SSPX priest.
Yeah. I mean, and I can't even make a comment on something like that because I don't know I don't have a good idea on how to deal with the pastoral needs of women. I'll leave that to people who are more experienced and know that better than I do. Okay. I'm not an unreasonable person, Rob. I'm not some rad trad who thinks that everything that modern priests do is bad as compared to me. I don't think that's true at all. And I really do think there's a lot of good bishops left in the Catholic Church. The fact that, and I know nobody agrees with this yet, because some people just like things to be bad, but I think the fact that Leo XIV was elected in such a quick fashion shows that we haven't been alone in how we felt for a while. That other people saw what we saw, even if they couldn't say it. And I mean,
time will tell.
Time will tell. He's not a rad trad, and I got to tell you, I don't even think that would be a good idea. Let me tell you, I would make a terrible pope because I would be Francis, but in the other direction. I would sow division, and everybody would hate me, and I would not build the church. There's a reason why the Holy Spirit has put me nowhere near anybody who's ever known anybody who's been close to the papacy. There's a reason for that, and I'm cognizant of that. But I'm also cognizant of abuse is abuse. And this is being done because you don't like certain people and you want to cause them pain. And then at the end of your statement, you basically punch them in the face and then you're demanding an apology from them for it. That's pretty low and it's pretty sick. And it's by no definition of the word pastoral under any stretch of the definition of that word. And so you're left to wonder, okay, so what is the purpose? And can I play along with it? Can I cooperate with something? Even, yeah, I'm unhinged. That's fair enough. That's probably Paul. That's probably a fair. I'll shut up now. It's probably fair. Sorry.
I mean, I think we're going to find out a lot about Leo with what happens here. I have a suspicion nothing's going to be done, and it will kind of just be try to get swept under the rug. I mean,
I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea, because again, this whole deal where it's the hot potato from pope to pope, that's not a good solution. And what
Agreed.
Francis did is basically set it up to where it could be that now. And I was like, oh, this is so bad, because now the next pope's going to come in and he's going to be anti this, and he's going to, then the next guy, and from whether or not you can go to mass at any given time will largely depend on you have nothing you can really hold on to. You can't build a life of grace based on that. I mean, maybe you can, but it sure is difficult, because the Vatican tells you to do something one day, and then the very next day turns around and says, no, you're a bad person for doing that.
Yeah.
And I'd gotten to this point the entire last year where I didn't know how to live a life that was pleasing to God, because the same person was telling me two bits of information. He published this book called The Catechism of the Catholic Church. And then when he wrote things that were in the book, that was okay. But for some reason, when I read it and believed it, I was a bad person. I was rigid, and I was uncaring, and I was a mean person. And I thought, well, it seemed to be okay for you when you wrote it down. It says Liberia Editrice Vaticanae right on the cover. Vatican Library Edition is what that means. They published the book, and that was fine. I had no idea when Christ's biggest enemy became the Catholic Church. When did that happen? Wow.
Well,
man,
you
that
see,
threw
in
me for a
325
loop.
AD, Constantine created the Catholic Church.
Convert to Palmarians. That's a weird one, man. Whoever DXD 1500, those Palmarians, that's a weird
5-minute masses.
cult.
You're in and out, man. Like,
Are they really 5 minutes? I thought they went back. I thought it all started as a rad trad thing, like TLM stuff. No,
It did. It's like some weird Spanish,
I know that.
rad trad SETI thing, but
I know that anti-pope gouged his eyes out or something like that, didn't he?
I don't know. But I do know their masses are about 5 minutes long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Think of how many cigarettes Pius X could have smoked before and after those 5-minute long masses.
I heard recently Leo the 13th drank wine laced with cocaine. Imagine that.
I think he put his face on bottles of wine that had cocaine.
They
in it.
did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine just busting rails with Leo the 13th? That'd have been sick.
And now we can commit ecological
I'm kidding,
sins.
everybody.
Haven't things gotten so much better?
That could have been your sponsor back in the day.
Probably could have been. No
Oh
kidding.
my gosh. We need to talk to Requisite. They need to come up with a new line.
Don't worry. Me and Mark
Welcome to Avoiding Babylon, everybody.
Me and Mark have been watching videos on how to
We got
make
a
a lot
great
of
show
money.
lined up for you.
A lot of money doing these runs, so we could help you out with your.
Yeah,
new,
we could.
line.
Jason and I have started a new
Adventure.
business.
What kind
Allegedly.
what kind of runs?
Listen,
run.
Columbia?
I'm not going to name specifics. All I'll say is,
You want the cocaine wine? You've got the cocaine wine.
it's
Okay.
Cessna airplanes, skiff boats, and things that can questionably be called landing strips out in the middle of the desert. And you can draw your own conclusions as to what we're doing.
Trump's gonna have to deport you too, I guess.
Oh, he might. It wouldn't be the
Yeah.
It's okay. He can't. 'Cause I'll text,
Mr. Mark
text communicate him.
Rodriguez.
I'll text communicate him, and those are juridically binding. Okay,
You know,
they're
I
binding and
joked about,
irreversible.
I joked about being half a Mexican earlier.
I am.
Mark
happy.
actually is
I know, and you actually are.
half Mexican, half Irish. What in the world did you do to deserve that?
Well, I mean, like my mother's she's not 100% Irish, but I mean, like in that part of the world, England, Scotland, Ireland, it's all
No.
all them people.
No. No.
Yeah.
Don't say we're the same as the Irish. Don't you do that.
Don't you dare call us the same as the English.
They all intermarried with each other, and so you go back far enough, if you're from that part of the world, if you're from Ireland, you'll find some English and Scottish ancestry in there at some point. It's almost difficult not to. But yeah, on my father's side, he was a Rodriguez, so his family were Tejanos going all the way back to when Texas was Mexico.
So you can boast, you pray the most after you toast. That's amazing.
I can just picture it. He's like, let's excommunicate the Freemasons. Let's do it.
Do you guys have a little bit more time? Did we want to watch that
I'm cool.
Jordan
I'm good.
Peterson
Fine.
clip?
I'm in.
Do you think we should do that here on YouTube, or should we go over to locals for that?
Whatever you want to do.
It's your show, buddy.
It's not entirely obvious that watching Jordan Peterson. I've been working on it, but I can't quite get it. I can't get Jordan Peterson. I can't get the accent right.
Should we get Obama to give us his opinion on Jordan Peterson?
You can call him, but I don't know if he'll even answer at this hour. I would have to. I'd have to jump off. Because we can only have
call him.
Right. I'd have to. I'd have to reach out through my lawyer.
You have dial-up, and you can't
connection.
have the internet and the phone line at the same time. Yeah, that makes
100%. Yeah, it's all part of my off the grid network. Initiative to just not be, not on the grid at all. So
okay,
yeah,
Mrs. C says we should keep it on YouTube.
Okay,
so we will keep it on YouTube. Let me pull up the Peterson clip. So I haven't watched it, Jason. I don't think you've watched it, Mark. You probably wouldn't have even known.
I'll probably watch it in 3 days and be like, guys,
Mark is living point to a T. He has avoided social media for the longest.
So
that's funny.
So many of you probably saw Brian Holdsworth's video last week, probably Wednesday or Thursday, where he talks about when he was on with Anthony and Tim Gordon. Well, yesterday we get a text in our group chat from Mark's, more or less saying, "Hey, have you guys seen this?"
Yeah, all I saw was Anthony's ugly mug in the thumbnail, and I went, "Oh my goodness." Brian, that guy's got a big channel. That's
what Mark does all the time. Like,
Brian, if you're listening, I've always enjoyed your content and what you have to say, and I'd love to have you on the show.
Mark does that all the time in the group chat. We'll be done. We will have talked about it in the group chat, and Mark a week later is like, "Have you heard about this?" We're like,
guys, I'm so deep in prayer and internal piety that I don't have time to deal with worldly. No, that's not true. I can't back that up. That's not even remotely what the situation is.
Jason's got like 6 kids, and he's right with it. He's with it on the.
It is.
But I'd waste too much time on it, to be honest.
It's the golfing, isn't it, Mark?
I do spend an inordinate amount of time on that frustrating endeavor. That's true. That's the path to holiness, though. I'm telling you. Because
golfing for the first time.
We did. We went out and played and had a pretty good round, actually.
So by golfing and not being on social media, you hit point number 2 and hit point number 5. Sounds like you're like the Bishop Martin poster child.
I've been working against you guys the whole time.
Mark is undercover. Mark is undercover right now.
Unbelievable.
He's a fed.
Okay, so I got a minute long video. I'm not watching the whole thing. There's no.
That's not long.
No, I'll watch. I'll watch that, but I'm not watching all of Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
I can't stand the man.
St. Martin 1770-73. I'm at Tex Cathedra. That's our channel.
Yep. Tex Cathedra. You need to use that one intro more often, Mark.
Oh, yeah, dude, I was thinking when I saw your dumb intro, I was like, Jason can teach you how to make an intro, bro.
Dude, I was about to try to, you know where Joe Rogan has that little clip where he goes, "Oh, you haven't seen the video? Roll that clip, Jamie," or whatever he says.
Jamie, pull that up.
Yeah, pull that up. I didn't have time today, but I was going to take that clip I made of Mark, splice it with that, and send it to you and say, "Hey, you've got to play this tonight."
Well, wait. Where is that clip? That's a short, right? Where is that?
It's not. No, it's not a short. It was just a clip I had on my. I might have posted it to my Twitter. Let me see.
I bet you did. Okay, you look while we watch this Jordan Peterson thing.
Yeah, go for it.
So this is Jordan Peterson on.
I've always kind of liked Peterson. You guys don't like Peterson. Interesting.
I'm neutral.
I can't say I agree with everything he's ever said because I've not listened to everything he's ever said, but
I just think he's one of those people that tries to come off way more intelligent than he really is. And what he says is usually really just kind of common sense, or should be. But now that he's trying to get into the religion thing, he really shows that he doesn't really know what he's talking about.
Okay. I'm open to that.
Anyway, so this is he's on something called Jubilee, and it's supposed to be 20 atheists versus 1 Christian, and they actually had to change the name of the video because of what you're about to see.
Why is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic church, don't you? Or you've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure,
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
somewhat.
Okay, you're
Their
familiar.
doctrines are
How
very
do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
And I mean
either
it,
you're a
'cause I
Christian
won't
or you're
talk
not.
to you if you're a smartass.
Oh, either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell
could be.
you.
You don't have to tell me. I was under the impression that I
private.
was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video,
You're really quite something. You are.
aren't I? But you're really quite nothing, right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him. Why is that relevant?
Because you go to
Okay, so that's what it was.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have arguments with people like that. I never would, but what do you think of what do you think of his response? I loved it. I'll tell you why.
Why?
Yeah, I want to hear why.
There is so I look at Jesus when he's talking to two different types of Pharisees. There's a Pharisee named Nicodemus who is questioning what Jesus is saying, but not because he's trying to trick him or I'm going to trap you into some kind of a rhetorical trap and make you look stupid or anything like that. I legitimately don't understand. How can a man be born again? So, and Jesus, when he talks to that Pharisee, is indulgent. He doesn't rebuke him for not having faith he'll sit there and have the discussion. But when it comes to these Pharisees well, what do you think of this? And the whole point of it is, well, however he answers, I got him. He does not indulge those people. And you shouldn't. It's pearls before swine. He's not asking him to give a testimony of his faith in anything. He wants to trick him or trap him or just berate him for something that isn't even true anyway. I don't know.
Okay, but they did enter into the whole thing on the premise that it was going to be a debate between a Christian and an atheist.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know
like
that.
I said, the video was literally titled 20 Atheists versus 1 Christian.
Right.
And yet Peterson wasn't willing to even affirm that he was a Christian. Like
do
for
you
me,
think do you think that Peterson could take on a kid like that rhetorically and make him look stupid? I mean, if he were legitimately, I think he could. I think he probably could.
Maybe that kid, yes. But I think there's plenty of Catholics who would probably make Jordan Peterson look silly.
Maybe.
Like for me, the problem with Peterson is like you have like First Peter tells us, be ready always to satisfy everyone that asks you a reason of the hope, which is in you.
Mm-hmm.
And Peterson's not even willing to say that he's a Christian or that he's not a Christian.
Right.
So that's what really
which means he takes it seriously enough to give it some thought, which I can appreciate because I think there's a lot of people out there calling themselves something that they're not. And maybe I include myself in that as well. In fact, I had a conversation with the Lord recently where he informed me that a lot of my Christianity is very performative and I need to work on that. And he's not wrong. So maybe there's a little bit of that in all of us, but I've always kind of appreciated that he takes the question seriously. I mean, because what do you mean when you say that? Well, you believe in Jesus. Believe in what about him? Well, just in his existence. Well, there are atheists who believe in his existence. When we say Jesus the Christ, what do we mean when we say that? Well, a nice guy who basically just wants you to be nice to everybody. Oh, then no, I don't believe in that. That's because it's not. There's no, that's a fictitious literary character you invented named Jesus. The real person is a very different person. And we have eyewitness accounts of that. And so I think, I don't know. I see what you're saying though. I do. But I think he doesn't know the answer to the question yet.
Okay.
He means he's maybe in a process of, because I know didn't his wife convert to Catholicism?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's weird that he didn't.
I mean, I agree. I agree that you're right that he doesn't know what he is yet.
Yeah.
But then why is he going on a podcast as a Christian to debate 20 atheists?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He knows he's not.
Yeah, that's
that.
the weird part. Yeah.
I think he knows he's not that.
This is he's monetizing a spirit, his spiritual journey is what
Yeah.
he's really doing, and it
might be.
it feels gross to me.
That's fair. That's fair. I can tell you that I know he is very I know he's does a lot with Jonathan Majot and everything, so I know he says a lot of nice things about the Orthodox Church, and he says a lot of nice things about the Catholic Church. He does not say a lot of very positive things about Protestantism as a theological or as a philosophical foundation, which I think is interesting, which I think means he's interested in what apostolic Christianity, true Christianity is. So I would describe the Catholic Church as a society instituted by Christ. And in order to be a member of the society, you have to practice the society's religion. The society is the Catholic Church. And what is the society's religion? It's Catholicism. And what is Catholicism? Catholicism is Christianity. And everything that is not that is something else.
Right.
I mean, you can go to a basketball game and call it baseball all you want. You're not at a baseball game. You're just deluding yourself. Christianity is a thing. Our Lord gave a religion to the apostles, and that religion has been handed down to us. And I know it was handed by a single person. I can prove it because the Orthodox and us have basically the same religion in very significant ways.
Okay, now you're sounding like Anthony.
Hang on. This is, but no, I'm not defending the Orthodox.
He's an
ortho
LARPer.
What I'm saying is the Orthodox would never do something just because the Catholics were doing it. The only way that they would have a reverence for Mary, the only way they would believe in the true presence in the Eucharist, the only way they would have 7 sacraments and not 2, is if we all received it from the same place. That is historical proof that this is not invented at a later date. It traces back to first century Palestine to a real person that existed named Jesus of Nazareth, who history has shown really was crucified, really died. He was buried. And then 3 days later, the tomb was found empty. And the only accounting for his body were the apostles who say that they saw him rose from the dead. There is no other accounting. There is no other first century accounting that says that was all BS because we all saw the body. We know where it is. We can take you there to this very day. That's how you get rid of the Jesus movement. And they never do that. So that story is true.
Well, I understand and don't necessarily disagree with that argument. I guess I would just say but there is doctrine that the Orthodox don't have that
100%.
that they would claim is invented, but we would say no.
100%.
We believe the doctrine of the Immaculate Conception wasn't invented when it was declared.
Right. Yeah. Right.
That it was always part of the church.
Right.
And was only infallibly declared.
And when you think about it, though, that is a very fine point of theological difference between the Immaculate Conception and the Dispassionate Conception. There's a difference, and I get it. But by and large, the main crux of the story is the same.
Yeah.
And that's significant to me because we know it doesn't always end up that way. The minute you separate from apostolic Christianity, Catholic Christianity, all kinds of things become up for grabs. Right.
It is incredible how quickly things get off the rail.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just saying that the Orthodox would not do as many things as we do just because, well, that's what the Catholics are. They don't like us that much.
Right. Right. If there was any possibility at all, it wasn't taught immediately in the early church, they would be against it just because it's Catholic.
100%. 100%. And you find this not only in the Greek Orthodox community, but in the Oriental Orthodox community and in every branch of Christianity, everywhere in the world that Christianity can trace its roots to the apostles. You will find this religion and no other. So you have to wonder, I know this is controversial, but I don't believe Protestants are Christians. I don't think I don't see how you can do that. If you're to say, well, they believe in Jesus. Well, so do the Muslims. Right. Muslims believe in the existence of Jesus. They believe completely different things. And so they're a different religion. Makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. I think it all depends how, everything on how you define, the term. If you want to say you're a Christian because you're doing your best to believe what to follow what you believe are the teachings of Christ, okay, then sure. But Protestants are not members of the Christian church. And
Ironically, their
that's what
baptisms are
I
valid. So
right,
you know,
but then
that-
they separate themselves from the church through both heresy and schism.
right, yeah. So it's one of those things. But I mean, I see Jordan Peterson. I think like he wants to become Catholic because he says all these great things about Catholicism, but he doesn't do it, which makes me wonder. And he's even been asked, I think, what's the holdup? Because I've heard you talk and you have these great defenses of Catholicism, but nothing ever moves you to pull the trigger. And what is the reason for that? And he's never given an answer for that. Maybe he doesn't owe us one. But I pray for him all the time. I think he would make a great Catholic if he could come to know and love the truth as it is been revealed.
Do you think it's and this is obviously just pure speculation on all of our parts, but do you think it's due to like an intellectual stumbling block or intellectual pride, or do you think it's due more to like the actual like moral demands of Catholicism?
I think
it's-
somebody.
Yeah, go ahead, Jace. What do you
No, I
think?
was gonna say. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find that video. I think to me, it has more. I would make the assumption that it's more of an intellectual stumbling block.
Oh, boy.
for him.
Oh, hello. Yeah, is this Avoiding Babylon? Good afternoon, everybody.
Is this former
greetings
President
from
Obama?
Greetings from the former president of the United States. It's great to be here, everybody. As y'all know, Avoiding Babylon is one of my favorite shows.
No, we're done for.
Rob, you can relax. I haven't been president for some time. I've been spending my days at Illuminati headquarters. I often play pinochle with Curtis
Hey,
Strange
man.
and the ghost of Tupac. The other day we were sitting there and I said, I haven't checked in on my boys yet at Avoiding Babylon. So I decided to call in, let everybody know how we're doing. Now,
So you
now
have the ghost of-
DXD 1500 just called me a crook. Now you can't prove that now.
Oh.
You ain't getting no health care. I've already made the call. I called my girl Kathleen Sebelius, and we've already revoked your card. So good luck paying that deductible, buddy. Hope you don't get a cold. And if you do, start eating Sudafed, my friend, because
Did you just tell him?
Obama plays for keeps. Who is this Mark
for
person? This Mark person says that's not me. Anyway,
Mr. President, I do have a question.
and
For
I've got
you.
the answer, baby. Let's hear it.
How did you personally celebrate the 5th anniversary of George Floyd's death this last weekend?
Okay, Rob, you know this is really me. I could get fired, man. Yeah, come on, man. The bit went too far, bro. The bit went too far.
Okay, so apparently this video I made, it was made on Valentine's Day 2023.
Oh no!
Did you find it?
Oh, I hate
I'm
you
about
guys so
to. I
much.
think
All right. In my defense, as you can tell, I am not great
You
at
have-
ad-libbing, and
you have no defense.
I'd had some wine that night. Not wine, not even wine laced with cocaine, just regular wine.
Speaking of, if you need wine, head over to requisitesellers.com and use code BASED for 10% off your order for great Catholic non-cocaine wine.
That's important.
Statement's not evaluated by the USDA.
It's-
The whole claim blazed by Rob from Avoiding Babylon are to only be taken as entertainment purposes only. Rules and restrictions apply.
I mean, I've got it on my screen. I guess I could share my
yeah,
screen.
share your screen.
it's-
Is it
it's
in a
too-
Chrome tab?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, it's all. I just pulled it off my hard drive.
It's got to be in a Chrome tab for the audio to work. So can you
okay,
upload?
yeah.
Can you send that
Mm.
file to me through Twitter DM?
Well, I was trying, but it's too hard. I would have sent it a long time ago, but it's too.
Yeah,
hard.
well, we probably can't do it. So, you know, it is, we could
Well,
just,
do you know what YouTube video it was the intro for? Because we could just pull. up the
Yeah,
YouTube video.
that's what I'm looking for right now.
hate you
I
guys so
mean,
much.
I have completely abandoned the show to find this video.
Do you think El Chapo would sponsor us?
Oh my goodness.
In
He's
his
got the money.
So we'll probably have to ask what's his name, Father Schneider of the Legionnaires, if that would be just remote cooperation with evil, or is that more like the COVID vaccines?
Mm. Who is this person we're talking about?
He's a priest who wrote a lot of things about why you needed to take COVID vaccines, and lost a lot of Catholics their jobs when they said it was against their religion.
The good old Legion of Christ, never failing to disappoint.
So, well,
You guys-
do you have time for
should have
another
been
rant,
shut
Mark?
down. I can't believe that didn't get shut down, but okay. I can't believe it. We get a motu proprio published about us in L'Osservatore Romano, letting us know we're not really part of the church, but that's still around. Okay. I see what's happening here. I see what you guys think is a serious thing and what you guys don't. Because
Darren,
Mark,
we don't talk about the Iowa
let me tell you
Hawkeyes.
something.
No,
Rob is a
no.
Nebraska-
Yeah.
Okay, we've solved that problem nice and quick. Like,
Well, I've got to get back on the show. Okay.
oh yeah, you can actually talk now, Jace.
I'm
You
about
can you can silence a truth teller, but you can't silence the truth.
I can silence the Iowa Hawkeyes at
That's
least.
true. You could. Let's go Cyclones. No, sir. No, sir.
Everyone appreciates your calm commentary on issues, Mark.
Yeah, well, nobody. You guys invited me on the show. You knew what was coming. You knew what was coming.
especially with this topic.
What do we know? What do we know? What do you guys know the book about the Flower World Prophecy?
Never heard of it.
I know it's related to Our Lady of Guadalupe, if I remember right, because the Flower World has something to do with the old Mayan religion, if I remember right. So I don't know anything about it. I have a feeling you guys don't either.
Never heard of it. Great book, huh? Mark has a great radio. Thank you.
Tim Gordon did a show.
I've been told I have a great Spanish language radio voice, because I can do, estoy escuchando noches de fiesta con Caleb, el 93.3 y 104.9 WFM, más éxitos per hora. I could do that all day.
What did you just say?
I've got the face for it too.
He's got the face for
That's a
it
good
too.
one. Seamus, right on time, buddy.
Deport him.
I just got deported. That's
Okay.
true.
I know what video it's on. So if you go to our YouTube channel and you find how
Hold on.
Lent almost killed the Tradmen.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
Can you do it that way?
Yeah, I can do that.
I should
Give me a
give
second.
this up. This is not deportation notice in mail. Yeah.
I feel like my absence in this show at this point. Well, with Mark's rant, I've been absent the whole time anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's
guys.
gonna
This will be
it's
worth.
gonna be worth it.
Okay. All right.
Okay, hold on.
This may be the greatest thing I've ever created.
Greatest.
Shout out to Jed Grady. Oh, and shout out to the Diocese of North Carolina. Shout out to the Tar Heel State. If anybody's in we've been talking about you all day. I forgot to shout out to the.
It should be right in the beginning.
For those of you who have never seen a show from Tradmen / Tex Cathedra, this is what you're missing. So head over to Tex Cathedra on YouTube and subscribe, because you are gonna want more of this right here.
Welcome everybody to Tradman. You're tuned in to the Quiet Storm. Mark and Jason are going to be keeping you company all night.
Oh yeah.
All right. We're going to grow in holiness. We're going to make some love. It's the Quiet Storm with Mark the Shark on Tradman. I was aroused. I listen, I heard that and I was like, that's deep. You know what I mean? That got me.
Hang on, and then we got a comment in there from an old lady who said, "Y'all shouldn't talk in these voices like that because it gets us old women riled up."
Oh man, if I could find
something
that
along that lines.
comment.
Well,
It was something like that.
that I tell you, that was about
Well,
that got me.
And that was the
to-
second that was your second rendition, because right before that you had said something about we're gonna make a little love. And
yeah, I know
said-
it was in that rendition. That was in that one.
Oh,
'cause
is that the one that was?
I didn't
and
know what
was-
to say,
yes.
so I just started talking, and I was
And
like,
I asked you, I said, make a little love, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Well, not to each other, of course."
"Yeah, man, you're reading too much into fiducia supplicans."
Well,
Wink,
what's,
wink.
what's hilarious is that
Wink,
was
wink, you
before
know.
fiducia supplicans.
Yeah.
That probably prompted.
It's probably the
fiducia
inspiration for it.
Yeah,
you know?
James
that's
Martin
social
subscribed
media
to us
again.
now.
I think Pope Francis heard that, and he's like, "Oh, I got to do something for these two cupcakes." Let me tell you.
We did have one viewer from Italy, and we're pretty sure it was Pope Francis.
It had to be him, you know. Christopher West is watching. Well, you'll be glad to know I have no idea who that is. So,
You really don't know who Christopher West is?
no, I don't know who anybody is. Who's Christopher West? What does he do?
He
Oh,
just
boy.
wrote a bunch of books on theology of the body, and I think early on he got in trouble. For
Oh,
some of the stuff, didn't he?
that
He-
guy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the
I'm-
Catholic kinky sex guy.
Okay. Oh, he's the one, huh? He's that.
Well, the most prominent one. I mean, he wasn't in any orgies with cardinals in Rome or anything like that. But
Somebody wants me to pronounce Italy.
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 Yeah, I'm not sure
Yeah,
any of us should.
Y'all have to excuse me. English is my first language, so I struggle with it.
Yeah, his second and third ones went much better.
Yeah. My Russian is pristine.
You know what's hilarious is out of all of us, you actually are like the world traveler.
Yeah, that's true.
I've been quite a few places. Yeah,
You are the cultured world traveler.
I am, and that's the scary part.
Like you've been to Dubai, Kazakhstan, Saudi
Saudi
Arabia.
Arabia, Oman, Australia, of course, Mexico,
Australia's a silly
Canada.
place.
What's funny is
Kuwait.
in Australia, you had two people speaking English to each other, not being able to understand a word you guys were saying, huh?
Probably.
Like I've told a story like that.
No,
Or
I'm
you're
just
just asking?
imagining you and an Australian trying to speak to each other and just nothing working.
Oh no, it worked out all right. Now I will say a lot of the stuff that there is a lot of words that they use, like so to go into the outback, you have to take a driving course, before you can drive in the sand dunes and all that.
Yeah.
So the first day, this is my second day in Australia, and the class starts, and the instructor's like, you've got to switch to back to 2-wheel drive when you get on the bitumen. And I'm like, what did he call me? I'm like, what is bitumen? And everything else, and so there's just
You're not
just
going to be
make the
putting
pavement.
anything on this bitumen. Let me tell
That's
you.
awesome.
You're not putting nothing on my bitumen.
Touch my bitumen.
And so yeah, but then you just find out all the nuances of their slang and their language, but they do like I won't say it, but a 4-letter word that starts with the C quite a bit.
Oh
over
yeah,
there.
the Brits too. Yeah, the Brits too. Yeah.
Oh.
They're loose with that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're super loose.
One thing I think we are going to start doing with guests before the end of shows
Oh,
is
no. What did I do?
first, Mark, what are your guys' favorite Bible verses if you had to pick one?
Oh my goodness, I need a heads up on this next time.
It's actually
Jason, you're a firm Protestant. How do you not have an answer?
No,
ready?
You asked me what my favorite movie is. It's hard for me to decide because there's so many. I love the whole collection.
Okay, come on, pick a Bible verse.
I'm going to go with Ephesians 4:24. And it actually is the basis for the prayer that somebody who's assisting in the mass would pray when they put on the surplice, the liturgical vestment of the surplice.
That sounds
and
pretty rigid to me, Mark.
And that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. And then the prayer actually, I think, is even it kind of embellishes on it a little bit, but it says it so eloquently.
Okay. So since that's your favorite, I want you
Yeah.
to read it in Hawaiian Pidgin.
Okay.
I ain't telling you my favorite verse.
Yes, you
Okay.
are. It's right there.
You
at the
guys got to
24th.
start for live the new kind way, the way God make you for. Man, I am going to get so fired for this. The way God make you for act you like him, the way you guys act gonna be pono for real kine, and you gonna be good. Oh my goodness, for God and live in the true way.
Awesome. Stick to Spanish.
Yeah, I think I will. I think I that was.
And that's coming from a guy named Seamus Waters. Stick to Spanish.
Stupid Seamus.
That was not good. I don't know.
It was perfect. Do it again.
Mark.
No.
Mark sounds white.
Yeah, I
The
am white.
twang
I
didn't
am
work.
white. There's white Mexicans. There's more of us than you might think.
Okay, Jason. You're the one I really want to hear speak Pidgin.
Okay.
What verse
So,
am I pulling up?
I am going to give a very, very cliche answer.
If it's John 3:16, I'm gonna
It's
slap
John
you.
3:16.
No. I'm going to say this because it's not really necessarily a verse, but a section. Because during my conversion and many, many, many years, all the way to my teenage years, it was always something that bounced around in my head because I always struggled to make it align with the different Protestant theology, right? So you're going to talk about the bread of life discourse. That is the one that I probably thought about the most growing
Okay.
up.
Where do
And
you
I
want me
think
to start? What verse?
I think what is it? Is it verse 54? Now I don't know the verses by hand, but
yeah, 54 is a good start. Let me pull it up here.
I'm going to read it in Sarum English.
Sarum English.
Liveth and reigneth.
Man, I can barely speak English, much less an accent.
I found this. I found a video of the Sarum rite. It's actually celebrated in Latin. It's a Latin liturgy. The Sarum use is. It's not really a rite. It's a use of the English liturgy.
Just stop.
No,
Last
I
time you
understand.
talked about the
It's
Sarum
true. I
rite,
don't know what I'm talking.
we heard
Also,
from people
I make
forever.
up most of what I make up most of what I say. It's your job to go do research. Don't take what I say for anything. I just like to,
All right.
Okay, Jason, stop putting it off.
I don't know. Oh, I'm still going. Good.
No,
gracious.
you can stop. You can stop.
I mean, it turned into Dracula in the beginning.
I didn't think it could get worse.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, but
No,
is that
I-
is that a language?
Not
Is
a
that
real
something that's
language, no.
recognized as? I don't know anything
No.
about
it. So
Hawaii
Pidgin
or
languages are. I'm not going to say fake languages, but they're like a transitional language for people who
We
were
have
just learning.
we have the
language.
Amazon right coming. We're gonna have this coming soon, just so you know.
Amazon, right?
Ugh.
That'll do it. That'll be the
Here
thing.
goes. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Mark is.
Well, I mean, it's like it's another.
Back to the start.
Everybody's got the magic bullet that it never works out. But anyway,
so
well,
I-
read my Pinto. All languages are made up. I mean,
So I guess real question, like, and I've wondered this myself too, like doing these silly readings of scripture, I guess, in Hawaiian Pidgin, like, do you guys think it is irreverent at all?
probably. I would say
You think
so. But then
so?
again, I'm
I don't know.
I guess,
He's a rigid trad, though.
is it the reading of it that's irreverent, or is it the fact that it was translated into a fake language that was irreverent?
is that an approved? First off, we shouldn't really read versions of scripture that are not approved by Holy Mother.
Oh,
Church.
it's
That's
definitely
number
not
one.
approved. No, I mean,
So then there you go. I
the
mean,
KJV is not approved.
who knows who translated that? Who knows what that? Yeah,
I'm going to
I think
say this: the USCCB has come out with has approved Stranger Things, right?
maybe, but at least it's approved. And
I don't know if
you
they
know what I'm
actually know
saying?
that. I'm being facetious there. Yeah, I don't know.
I
Yeah, I
think
don't know
sacred
either.
scripture is a big deal. You know that. Well, everybody gets
So-
mad at me when I talk about Jews, but they don't touch the
So-
words. So it was you shouldn't touch the words. You know what I mean? And that's just the word of God reduced to writing. People handing out communion in the hand. That's
Well,
Man.
it looks like
Anyway.
Bishop Martin was right. We need to do penance just coming on AB.
it's coming on AV.
Now we have to.
you can't give us this bit and then rug pull Babylon to Big Town away.
Yeah.
That's so yeah, in Revelation when it talks about Babylon, they call it Babylon to Big Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should confess it, shouldn't I? Just in case.
I don't think your intention. I think your intention was to make fun of people who.
And like, to be fair, I'm not
That
even
makes it
making
better.
fun
We're
of.
making fun of people. Yeah.
I'm not even making fun of Hawaiians. Right?
No,
Like,
you're making fun of biblical people who write this biblical translation and because they think that. I know what you're doing.
right.
I get what the intention was. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not irreverent. Don't. I mean, ask a.
Because I do tend to. I
probably
do
is.
tend to agree with Mrs. C here. Like, we are saying it in a mocking tone. Now we're not mocking scripture. We're not trying to. We're mocking the fact that some leftist academic somewhere that translated this into a language that it's not even used, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to mock, but we are using scripture to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
prob-
think
probably not wise.
I
Like, the way
think
you talk about it.
translations into profane versions of
Peer
languages like
pressure.
there's
Right,
a
we're-
way to translate it into English, but there are also versions of English which are not befitting the gospel and not
100%.
befitting the text. You know
Well, like
what I mean?
like the message translation and things like that, where it's slang English more or less.
right,
Like,
exactly. Slang and I think, and also it's pretty presumptuous, and this is always where they start from. They start from this position of Jesus needs me to spread his message to people because people aren't going to connect with Jesus. It's me they're going to find charismatic. It's my, when Jesus is gone, I'm his PR person that comes out and tells everybody, no, he doesn't really mean all those things, and because if I intercede, I'll attract everybody. Jesus just puts people off. Man, that's highly presumptuous of you.
mm,
And that is not true. That this is a religion that has converted the world to itself, and it did so all without you. You know what I mean?
what is this? Hold on, there's a new. Oh no, we can't have this. This is bad.
Well,
We can actually show all the comments coming in on screen.
Oh.
Nope. Our audience is gonna misuse that. We are taking that away. I guarantee an end's gonna appear in the chat in the next 5 seconds.
yeah.
Yep. Taffy, I knew it.
But then again, okay, but hang on, Rob. But here, because did Jerome do what I'm talking about? I mean, the reason it's called the Vulgate is because it was translated into the vulgar tongue, which was Latin at that time. At that time, the proper scriptural language is Greek, and that's what was read in the churches and everything at the liturgy. So, am I wrong?
Yeah. I get that, right? But Hawaiian Pigeon isn't. I don't know. Is it?
Yeah,
like
I know. It's a weird question. It's an interesting one. For something, it doesn't seem right to me, but I can't really articulate why. So maybe I'm in the wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we just won't do it. Mysterious North Carolina. That's an interesting username there.
That's what vernacular translations sound like to people in the Middle Ages. Yeah, maybe.
It's not a language, it's slang, is what Joseph said.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the vulgar tongue
Okay.
wasn't vulgar in the way like
I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not well, I mean, again, I don't know. If there anybody who knows more about the translations of this, of how Jerome compiled the Bible exactly, they could probably tell you better than I could. That's an area of church history I would really love to know more about. I would love to know more about Jerome's process in translating and doing this monumental work of translating the scriptures into Latin. It's a translation that we use to this very day. Jerome's translation is still the official Latin translation of the Bible. That's amazing.
Well, gentlemen,
that's all I got.
I don't have anything else.
But let me just say one thing on a more serious note. Since today is Memorial Day, you know, we also remember the Catholic chaplains. I was today.
Absolutely.
You're
servant of
stupid.
God, Emil Capon.
Get it closer. Get it closer. Your stupid green screen. It's terrible. Oh, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I just wanted to bring up awareness if people don't know about Father Emil Capon. He was just became a venerable a month or two ago. He was an American chaplain out of Wichita, Kansas. Died during the Korean War. And I'm not going to go into his whole story. You can find stories of him online, and even me and Mark did an episode about it early on in our podcasting career. If you don't know about this great Catholic, this great man, this great priest, please look him up, find out more about him, and if after learning about him you feel it in your heart and the need to, pray for his eventual canonization.
His story is amazing.
It really is. It's incredible. And so all the people who've given their life for their country, it's a noble thing to do. I don't care what modern sensibilities say about that. It's a noble Catholic thing to do.
You guys should do like a follow-up episode in that series on Father Capodanno, who was a chaplain during Vietnam.
Yeah. We should have. I was going to think we should have Alex Bieliakowski back on the show.
Yeah,
he's a good dude. Very great military historian. So, and a good Catholic.
Do you guys want to push your channel one last time?
Well, I just want to say one more thing to the people of Charlotte. Just keep the faith. This isn't going to last. This isn't going to be the thing either. Just hang in there. And hang in there. God is on our side on this one. So that's it.
Oh, Rob, let me say Christian here. Father Capon should be a saint and have the Medal of Honor. He does have the Medal of Honor. It was given to his, I can't remember, one of his relatives. Obama actually ended up giving it to him. And if you watch the video online of the Medal of Honor,
you're welcome, by the way.
If you watch the video of
not that I get any credit for anything,
the Medal of Honor presentation, I think Sergeant Miller was his name. The guy that he saved was in attendance during that. I mean, he was still alive at the time.
Oh, really?
And obviously he was an old man at that point. So, it speaks volumes to the man that he was. And a lot of the guys that were in the camp with him, the POW camp, were in attendance. So you can actually see the video of Obama presenting the Medal of Honor.
Paul, neither Jason nor I were ever in the military. I was in. If I was going to be in the military, I would have been in MEAL Team 6.
MEAL Team 6.
All right, that's all I got. It was great coming on, guys, and thank you.
It was fun.
Thank you for letting me vent. I hope it was as entertaining to watch as it was to say.
We'll have to have you guys on sometime soon with Anthony. I know Anthony wished he could have been here for this one, but we'll all get to hear about 1,000 stories of him in Greece.
So the crazy thing is, I was trying to be a lot more tempered in this subject matter to be smart in what I say, and then you had me read Hawaiian Pygmy. It's just shot the whole thing out of the water. Like it didn't even matter anymore.
Well, do you want to go back and now rant about some of the stuff you were trying to be tempered on?
No.
All right. Good talk.
So,
good meeting.
Seamus says, please pray for a friend of mine who went to our Lord today. He was a general of the North Dakota National Guard and served in Iraq during Operation Iraqi Freedom. So yes, everyone pray for Seamus's friend.
Thank you, Seamus.
Yeah, so thank you guys for coming on. It was fun. It's been a long time, and we'll have to do it again. Jason, no matter how many times you say you'll get back to us, we're gonna just keep pestering. So
That's right.
okay. Thank
Just
you
keep
all.
asking.
And
God
I
bless you
don't know
guys.
when Anthony gets back from Greece. We may or may not have another stream later in the week. Might be me and Ant. We'll see. But anyways, thank you all and have a great night.